The Wisdom of Teams by John Katzenbach and Douglas Smith is a true classic among 20th century business books. It uncovers the wisdom of what teams can truly achieve and how can they perform at their absolute best. The Wisdom of Teams, Creating the High Performance Organisation, was first published in 1993. And it is a testament not just to the enduring appeal of the topic, but of the quality of the research within it, that it still remains in print nearly 30 years later. Both authors had been consultants at McKinsey & Company, and at the time they wrote it, Katzenbach still was. And this gave them access to a wide array of case studies that they could draw on for illustrating their points and for drawing their main conclusions. Their book is drawn from interviews across 47 organisations in the United States. And despite this wealth of knowledge that they drew upon, they did recognise that the conclusions in their books are both obvious and subtle. Obvious in that they contained no great surprises, which in itself shouldn't be surprising to us, because if there were surprises, then what's the value of our experience of working in organisations? But the findings were also subtle in that implementing the understanding that you gain from the book is by no means trivial. There are lots of important details to get right, and the devil is always in the details. So Katzenbach and Smith described their findings as both common sense and uncommon sense, which I suppose is exactly what we should hope for, because teams are made of people. And when people come together, the situations they create are both messy and hard to characterise precisely. As a result, some commentators have criticised the book both for being obvious and also for being too wordy with all of the case studies that they use to illustrate their points. But perhaps the biggest single idea in the Wisdom of Teams is that there is no single big idea. Teams are complex, and there are lots of smaller ideas that you need to get right to build a powerful, high-performance team. So, why do we need teams? Well, the first important idea in the Wisdom of Teams is the ability of a team to outperform the individuals within it. Indeed, the very first sentence of Section 1 sums it up nicely. Teams outperform individuals acting alone or in larger organisational groupings, especially when performance requires multiple skills, judgments, and experiences. But Katzenbach and Smith also found that teams offer a number of benefits outside of the performance that they can create. These include developing the individuals within the team, enhancing the organisational culture around it, solving challenging problems, and making better, more robust decisions. So we clearly need a team, which raises the question, what precisely do we mean by the word team? And the definition that Katzenbach and Smith came up with is probably the most widely used definition of a team in the business and managerial context. They said that a team is a small number of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose, performance goals, and approach for which they hold themselves mutually accountable. This encompasses three necessary conditions that Katzenbach and Smith put forward for what a team needs to have. The authors summed this up in a powerful diagram at the start of the book. Accountability and skills together yield performance results. Commitment and accountability taken together lead to personal growth, and skills and commitment create collective work products. There's another iconic illustration in the Wisdom of Teams, and it's at the start of part 2. It's a team performance curve, which shows the evolution of the team in 5 stages, from a simple working group to a high-performance team. In a working group, the main function of the group is to help out individuals to perform well in their own domain of responsibility. Therefore, what the group itself does is share information and ideas and facilitate the making of good decisions and solving of problems. A pseudo-team doesn't necessarily share a common sense of purpose, nor does it hold one another accountable. They merely act as if they are a team and adopt the label of a team. Underneath it, however, each individual is still trying to demonstrate their own strengths and to act in their own best interests. A potential team, however, is trying to improve its performance, but it doesn't yet have enough understanding of its shared purpose, and nor does it have the mechanisms to hold one another truly accountable. And before it can achieve highest performance levels, a potential team needs to find new and more effective processes to support collaborative working. A real team is a small number of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose, performance goals, and approach for which they hold themselves mutually accountable. So what then is a high-performing team? A high-performing team goes beyond every element of what a real team is. Its members are committed not just to the growth and success of the team, but to the growth and success of each other. As a result, high-performance teams can outperform any other kind of team and can usually achieve more than outside observers would really expect. Katzenbach and Smith devote a large part of the book to giving us ideas for how we can develop and build high-performance teams. There are lots of ideas in the book, so all I can do is extract a few of my favourites and summarise them briefly to give you an indication of what you'll get when you read the book. There are 4 key lessons in Chapter 1, and I'm going to summarise the first 2 of them together. These state that challenge and success are the 2 biggest motivators for a team. The authors find that teams are energised by real challenges, and what drives performance is, to a greater extent, a performance ethic than a team ethic. The team takes pride in its achievements. The need to perform well can itself drive both the accountability that a team needs and the shared sense of direction. So what does all this mean about individuals? Well, you've probably heard the expression, there's no I in team. But there is a me if you look carefully. A high-performing team is made up of individuals. It is the diversity of those individuals that gives the team its strength and power. The team needs complementary skills, not just clones. And if you can harness those skills effectively, then you can get to higher levels of performance. Top teams are particularly problematic, Katzenbach and Smith found, because at the top of an organisation we find teams made up of people who are far more likely to try to assert themselves as individuals rather than to collaborate and hold one another accountable in a true way. If you like, their shared performance goals are weaker because they are more focused on their individual success. Katzenbach and Smith suggested a number of solutions. Among them is the need for the CEO to create a collegiate atmosphere, to set expectations and demonstrate behaviours that will foster a sense of shared responsibility. Another approach is to divide the top team into smaller sub-teams, so there is even greater levels of accountability within those sub-teams. Ultimately, you need to find mechanisms to incentivize people to subordinate their self-interest or to harness their self-interest directly to the performance of the team. Perhaps the most surprising finding that Katzenbach and Smith offer us is the importance of skills mix compared to that of personalities. We are well used to the idea that a high-performing team is one with a suitable mix of personalities. But Katzenbach and Smith find that skills are more important. It's the skill mix that counts, not the personality mix, which appears to fly in the face of models from people like Meredith, Belbin, and Margerison and McCann that we look at in other videos in this series. However, it's important to note that both the Belbin team profiles and the Margerison-McCann model are not actually about personality. They're about team role preferences. They're about the team behaviour skills that we prefer to demonstrate when we're in the team. So we can reconcile this together in a complete way. As is often the case, Katzenbach and Smith are right, and their findings are consistent with all of the best research in the field. The Wisdom of Teams is one of the most important business books that you can read. If you are a team leader or a manager, or just an organizational leader dependent upon teams for the success of your organization, or indeed your own performance, then you need to read The Wisdom of Teams. Please do give a thumbs up if you like this video. There'll be loads more great management courses content, so please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.